Happy Equinox. It's March 20th, 2018. And it's been a minute, so I missed last week again, but I'm having long spurts of in between times. It's just getting kind of crazy and hectic, but that's the times we're in, right? So why not just run with it? A lot of things been going on. My financer slash car salesman has been harassing us about this truck. So I've been dealing with this truck. Not probably gonna have it, but I'm waiting like maximum amount possible to take it back to him, just because of his kind of fishiness and the way he's producing business, and it seems like it's intentional. So it's like a scam, or he was too willing to give us such a good deal, and it seemed like that was the reason, because there was something behind it. But ultimately I got signs to get into that truck, so it made me feel like if it wasn't my own lesson that I had to endure, then maybe it was a lesson for him to endure with me somehow, some way. So we're figuring it out. Since the last time I've been on the videos, I've had like quite a few epiphanies, uprisings in my own mind, kind of thinking about things a little bit harder than I usually do in regards to like where I'm going with this. And so I'm trying to figure out a few things, but one of the key things in my mind, which is kind of why I keep bringing up that I want this for documenting, is that since I started these videos, I had this inclination to want to pursue better health. Like, I'm a big guy. Obviously, I would benefit from it, but mainly I'm fully aware of ancient teachings that discuss your health and your diet and the energy you expunge wastefully because of eating red meats, any meats. But to be on a plant-based diet is like ultimately the goal, and for the purpose of, in my mind, healing, right? But there's a whole story which I'm getting into with all this. So I've been debating about how to like approach this whole, what it is I'm trying to promote here, what it is I'm trying to market. I keep talking about spirit, but can I go in the mainstream with that direction? I don't really know, but I think I can. Like, that's the whole reason I'm pursuing this. Like, it's a big full cycle deal. So with the better diet, it was already in my mind when I started up back with the videos that I wanted to somehow document my progress, or part of the progress, because I know part of the fact in me getting to be more acknowledged, or at least taken seriously, is I got to have some form of, and this is my mind thinking, keep in mind, I gotta have some form of pinnacle that I can be from a third person perspective, so that way I have something that I can talk about, so others will listen better. I mean, I know I got plenty to talk about now, but I know there has to be something that takes hold where people actually want to listen. So in my mind, it has to be in financials, diet, some form of major change, something, could be a hero. You could go out, do something in the world and get acknowledged for it, and then have something to talk about because of your principles and your morals, or whatever the case is. You got to have something that people appreciate, understand, can also relate to. That's my thinking. So when I started these videos, I knew I was going to a topic that wasn't so widely accepted, at least not on the surface. It's more frowned at, scared from, whatever. I'm trying to make that not the case. I'm trying to bring a lighter side to something that is more darker, and only the darker groups seem to have a hold on it. And that shouldn't be the way it is, because it's all energy, it's all neutral, it's all everything that we already should be knowing, but it's never discussed that way. So main thing, I started being a vegetarian. At least I'm trying for my plant-based diet. I'm like on day 5 now. But it's a real big ambition in me, because of the fact that I know that I'm trying to build a mental clarity, but also a mental projection that I can actually do and possibly heal. Because one of the things I don't discuss, or haven't discussed yet, is that with all this information, I mean, maybe I've already been tuned into it, but there are aspects where I feel like I can heal others. And that's one of the things I also want to be able to promote. Not really for money, but for the ability of the people to understand that you can heal yourself. I'm a very healthy individual as far as disease and sickness goes, but I'm trying to make it also now in the physical aspect. So I've done it before. I've done it a few times. It's just the mental strength that I was procrastinating, putting off, let myself get to a too big of a point. So now it's time to make a difference, make a change. That's what I'm shooting for. So ultimately, I want to discuss, what made this change right now. It's March 20th. I started about March 15th. Last year, at the beginning of the year, I did a 4-day fast. I cheated though, and I had a couple Red Bulls, and later on I regretted it because I figured out the point of the fasting was introducing no sugars, no carbs, for the simple purpose of your body to transmutate your own individual fat cells into sugars, and it does a benefit of detoxifying, but also a natural cleansing of sorts. So I kind of regretted the Red Bull cheating later on after I realized, I did all that work because I didn't eat for 4 days. It was like 104 hours or something to that effect. But mainly this year, I have this new regeneration feeling again. So I ended up watching What the Health on Netflix. And this is where the story gets kind of crazy, because when I started realizing how I got to this point right now, it started with the video when I brought up the whole sweet water, drink water. If you happen to watch that one, it was symbols and signs for me to drink water. And I thought it was just strictly related to water and being, correcting my immune system at that given moment, that given time. But as I look back at everything now, which is the exact way spirit, quote unquote, will seem to communicate, is that every so often, if you periodically just look back and kind of re-gauge everything and what choices were made and why they went that way, you kind of start to understand how much it's interacting in your life, but it comes in the form of your own choices and decisions, like I keep trying to emphasize. Spirit is both external and internal mostly though, because everything that's coming from the external was guided by your internal direction, your compass, your intuition. Every choice, every thought, every moment leads you into the moments that you experience the external forces, because you wouldn't get to those points of experiencing them if it wasn't for your internal direction. So when I got the drink water, the sweet water mentions, it was something to take note of. But then, time progresses and we have an issue where our son has to come back into the house. So him and his girlfriend got into it, or baby mom, I should say. And now he's back at the house. And at the time I was, disappointed. This is kind of why I'm out here now, because I'm trying to do these scene videos. But again, it all happens for a reason, right? So with him being in the house, I don't really feel comfortable doing videos, all the way, because this is like an isolation time that I do them. It's kind of like my own therapy. So I don't really feel comfortable doing them in the house anymore with the black screen or whatever I had going on. So now I'm coming back out to the scenes, but then it's harder because I got the truck and then it's the gas, and it costs so much money in this damn truck for gas. So it's just all the way around, like the hurdles keep coming. But again, it all happens for a reason. That's one thing I can't emphasize enough. So he comes back into the picture in this given time. He's ready for, he didn't have a cell phone, so he needs one now to apply for jobs. And because with this, he lost his job, and it was just one big trickle effect of this snowball that just was going downward, or felt that way. And I just recently heard a story that was discussing a Buddhist story and talking about what's good or bad, about a farmer who every time something was happening, like a crop came and he had such a big harvest, the neighbors came and said, "Oh, you're so lucky you had such a big harvest." And he says, what's good or bad? Next day, the horse ends up running away. One of his only horses runs away, and the neighbors come and say, "Oh, that's such a tragedy." And he says, "What do we know what's good or bad?" The next day, the horse brings like 10 other horses, and then the horses come, and the neighbors come again like, "Oh, you're so lucky, you got all these new horses." And he says, "What's good or bad?" So then the son the next day rides one of the new horses, falls and breaks his leg, and the neighbors again, "What the hell is this?" "All right, it's just a bird." "Oh, it's a cardinal." Crazy, he was making a lot of noise. So the son breaks his leg, so then the neighbors come and say, "Oh, you're so misfortunate." He said, "What's good or bad?" Well, the next day the emperor comes and they're trying to recruit for going to war, and because his leg's broken, they don't take him and they leave. What's good or bad? Basically the moral of the story. Everything is neutral. You can't make perceptions based off of what your definition of good or bad is, because the universe is always working for you. It's always working with you. It's working in conjunction with your mental capacity, your thought, your projections, I can't emphasize enough. It's just with you. So anyway, he loses his job. He's back at the house. So he needs a cell phone. He needs to start applying for jobs. We don't have internet at the house, which we're trying to change right now, actually. He gets the phone. We go to T-Mobile. He has good enough credit to get a whole family package or whatever with 0 down, everything else. So like, I've been through T-Mobile. I didn't mind it. I've gone away from it, but with this whole package comes Netflix. So then here comes Netflix, and we get the phone. It ends up being half off of what we were going to pay on our normal bill at this given moment, being that we were splitting the bill to start. So it all seemed to work out in the form of getting a new number, new line. But mainly I was excited about the Netflix, you know, because we don't have any of the services because of the simple fact I try to stray away from them. But ironically, I've been thinking about gaining Netflix. So we get Netflix. Been watching Netflix. One of the things I watch on Netflix is What the Health. That movie, even though I heard a lot of few others discuss this movie and how much it changed them and made them want to actually start doing better, eating better, it did the exact same for me, as much as I criticize people. But now I was already in the mental state of wanting to eat better, getting in a better vibe, groove. So like, it kind of just pushed me more in that direction. So it wasn't like it fully changed my complete mind about it, but it definitely made an impact enough to where I wanted to make it official. So here I go, and I'm starting this new plan with the foods and doing vegetables and fruits, and there's some construction going on, so I don't know if you can overhear that. So I start this new process, and I just debated about it yesterday, thinking about it, because then I started watching this other documentary called Feel Rich, and it was talking to hip hop artists and, you know, the actual healthiness that goes in with being famous, because you have to keep up that mental stamina, the physical stamina, as well as the presentation of looking good. So there's this whole concept of eating right, doing right, you know, mind, body, spirit type of deal. So all the way around, spirit comes in many different forms. And like I said in the very beginning, your external is going to only be there because of your internal reactions, directions, your internal compass, whichever direction that you get led because of whatever choice or whatever circumstance or whatever happening. Those external signs and symbols that feel like they're coming from the world are in reality coming from your own mental capacity. Like, your mental brain is what's pushing you in these directions, but your mental brain isn't just your mental. You have to understand that there's intuition, gut feelings. It's almost like so many layers within your mental that is not even understandable. Like, there's so many layers that we can't even understand, because honestly, I feel there's a side of us that already knows everything that's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. It knows what you're going to do, what this guy's going to do, this girl's going to do, and you're making the best calculated judgment that you can based off of what you know, but you're getting influential forces coming at you based off of the things you technically don't know but do know, if that makes sense. So in my opinion, you're constantly being guided in whatever direction you're headed. Is the direction you're supposed to be in. You're always in the right place at the right time, even if it's tragedy or torment, or it doesn't matter. It's always the right place, the right time. There is no such thing as coincidence. None of that exists. It all exists for the story of you. Like, you're leading your story the way it's supposed to be led. I'm going to stop with that today, but I'm trying to make it a goal that I actually do a few videos to kind of catch up for this week. That is, it was kind of going to be, ironically, yesterday I thought about doing like a 5 in a row day series for the equinox. And then before I realized it, I thought I had at least a couple days till the 21st. The equinox is today, the 20th. So technically it puts my foot in my mouth and I have to do it and start today. So we'll see if I can do this continuous roll of videos here just to kind of catch up for the days or the weeks that I haven't been. So wish me luck. You guys have a great rest of the day. Remember, stay positive, stay strong. Everything's always happening for a reason. And as long as you got that mindset, there is no such thing as tragedy. Like, you are going to understand that everything's happening for a reason. And I get it. If you don't believe in that higher power or that power that's present, you obviously are going to have a harder time understanding that. But you're obviously watching these videos for a reason. There's something in you driving you to make you understand that there is something present. And I feel that's my job, my duty, is to make this information more known, or at least understood to maybe a better, reasonable level, and not so far-fetched, because there is a logic and a magical And I feel like I've been able to bridge those two together, and that's what I'm trying to give you guys. I want you guys to experience life the way I think I experience it. It may not be an all good right now and all great, and it technically never will be. There's always going to be the wave, the curve. It's never going to be roses and raindrops. It's always going to be ups and downs. But at least if you have the mental, what's the word, preparation, you can understand, I guess, mental awareness. You can understand what directions you're headed in, and there should never be as big of a tragic as you think you're experiencing maybe today. You can at least have a better grasp on things. But thanks. You guys have a great day.